Who would have thought that Mr. Bean would end up being one of our most adamant defenders of free speech, right alongside people like Ricky Gervais, people like this who, you know, put their careers on the line, put their reputation on the line to defend free speech. And these are the people that we should definitely show appreciation to for, you know, risking it all to come out in defense of things like free speech, just basic human rights. So Mr. Bean defends free speech. Rowan Atkinson denounces Scottish hate crime bill. So let's go ahead and take a look at this. I also have a very awesome video to show you guys of Rowan Atkinson completely annihilating censorship and everything that goes against free speech. It is absolutely incredible. So I'm going to show you that as well. Before we get into that, if you guys would, if you are new around here or if you haven't yet, please consider subscribing. I greatly appreciate that. I noticed that a lot of you that watch my videos aren't actually subscribed, so if you take a moment to do that, that would mean a lot to me. With that being said, let's go ahead and see what this is all about. So, by the way, this is all about like UK type stuff, which I'm not like super, I'm not really super into what's going on over in the UK. I'm more focused obviously on things that are happening here in the US, but the things that are happening over in the UK are kind of, I guess, kind of a foresight into what is eventually going to be happening here in the US if we don't take a more firm approach towards defending things like free speech. So, famed British comedian and star of Blackadder and Mr. Bean, Rowan Atkinson has signed an open letter decrying Scotland's new hate crime and public order bill, warning the law will infringe upon freedom of speech. An open letter from Humanist Society Scotland, signed by artists, authors, journalists, and the free speech campaigners, including Rowan Atkinson. I should find out who those other artists and authors are. Warned that the left separatist Scottish National Party bill could stifle free expression. The letter warned that the legislation creates stirring up offenses without any intent being examined, merely that the words, action, or artwork might do so. That's absolutely insane. Even artwork could be like a criminal offense. Are you kidding me? That is horrific stuff. There is absolutely no way that I would want to live in a country where mere artwork could be seen as a crime. That is insane. This offense could even be applied to being in possession of materials produced by someone else, where sharing the material could stir up hatred. Are you, like, even if you are in possession of materials that were produced by someone else, that is like punishable? Are you kidding me? This is absolutely ludicrous. How on earth is this supposed to be a progressive stance at all? This is absolutely going against everything. That just basic human rights. This is ridiculous and honestly really horrific. The unintended consequences of this well-meaning bill. Well-meaning? I'm not sure about that. Risk stifling freedom of expression and the ability to articulate or criticize religious or other beliefs, the open letter warned. The letter was signed by a cross-party diverse group of individuals and organizations who warned that the hate crime legislation could frustrate rational debate and discussion, which has a fundamental role in society, including in artistic endeavor. The right to critique ideas, philosophical, religious, and other, must be protected to allow an artistic and democratic society to flourish, the letter continued. And honestly, I completely agree with all of that. I am totally 110% for free speech. I don't care who you are. I don't care if you are the most anti-Christian person out there, talking as a Christian right now. I don't care if you are the most anti-Christian out there. I think that you should be able to say whatever you want to say, no matter how hateful it is towards Christians, as long as you aren't, inciting, actual violence towards Christians. Besides that, I think that you should be able to say whatever you want against me. I think you should be able to say whatever you want against Christians. I think you should be able to say whatever you want against white people. Just as much as I have the freedom to say whatever I want about you in return. That is how freedom of speech is supposed to work. And sadly, those are rights that are slowly decaying more and more every day. And that is this really scary thing. So let's go ahead and see what Rowan Atkinson has to say about free speech. This was a video from a few years back, but it is just as applicable today as it was when he originally said this stuff.
With the reasonable and well-intentioned ambition to contain obnoxious elements in society, has created a society of an extraordinarily authoritarian and controlling nature. It is what you might call the new intolerance, a new but intense desire to gag uncomfortable voices of dissent. I am not intolerant, say many people, say many softly spoken, highly educated, liberal-minded people. I'm only intolerant of intolerance. And people tend to nod sagely and say, oh yes, wise words, wise words. And yet if you think about this supposedly inarguable statement for longer than 5 seconds, you realize that all it is advocating is the replacement of one kind of intolerance with another, which to me doesn't represent any kind of progress at all. Underlying prejudices, injustices, or resentments are not addressed by arresting people. They are addressed by the issues being aired, argued, and dealt with, preferably outside the legal process. For me, the best way to increase society's resistance to insulting or offensive speech is to allow a lot more of it. As with childhood diseases, you can better resist those germs to which you have been exposed. We need to build our immunity to taking offense so that we can deal with the issues that perfectly justified criticism can raise. Our priority should be to deal with the message, not the messenger. As President Obama said in an address to the United Nations only a month or so ago, laudable efforts to restrict speech can become a tool to silence critics or oppress minorities. The strongest weapon against hateful speech is not repression, it is more speech. And that's the essence of my thesis, more speech. If we want a robust society, we need more robust dialogue, and that must include the right to insult or to offend.
Absolutely, just 100% spot on with everything that he says there. Honestly, I couldn't say it any better than he said right there. Thank you, Rowan Atkinson, for having the courage to stand up for such a basic human right as freedom of speech. It is really sad seeing more and more Western countries taking a stand, basically putting the hammer down on free speech. It is absolutely just a devastating thing to see. This is like one of the most detrimental things towards a Western society that I think has ever happened. Honestly, free speech, there are very few things that should be protected more than freedom of speech. And honestly, you know, we need to take a firmer stand for that, because if freedom of speech goes, you can kiss everything else goodbye. Everything else is dead. There's nothing you can do at that point. So protect freedom of speech with everything that you got. Thank you, Rowan Atkinson. I really do appreciate that. Thank you for continuing to this day to do what you can to protect things like freedom of speech. I send a blessing to you and to Ricky Gervais and everyone over in the UK who is working towards that end. That is fantastic. With that being said, let me know in the comments below what you think about what Rowan Atkinson says here. I think he is just really spot on. It is fantastic. And comedians really do understand this better than most people. Comedians really do understand how dangerous it is to censor what people are saying. They're comedians. Their whole job is to say the offensive, to say the things that make people uncomfortable. That is their whole. That is what good comedy is, I should say. You know, and so they know that, and that is why you see so many comedians standing up for free speech, and hopefully more people will wake up to realize that if you don't stand up for it, eventually you're going to get to the point where even like over in the UK, it seems like they're trying to push a bill where even things like artwork can be a criminal offense, which is just absolutely. Can you get any more insane than that? Seriously? So with that being said, let me know in the comments below what you think. Subscribe if you're new, and I will talk to you all very soon in another video. Talk to you later. Bye.
With my heart's desire.